Hi everyone. Uh, Thanks to Hyper Games conference for having me here today. Um, Let me share my screen so that you can see the topic. It's Beauty and the Beast of revenue share deals. I chose it because it's the story of my life. Basically, I'm Chief Business Development Officer for almost 10 years at Imperia Online. I have more than 13 years at business development and marketing globally. And I studied my master's degree of business administration at the Autonomous University of Barcelona. Um, Even there, I started with some different marketing and advertising internships. And the recent 5 years, I've been speaking to different conferences because we have lots to share. Imperia Online is the largest Bulgarian game developer. We are 17 years on the market, and we have more than 70 people working in our company. We became part of Steelfront Group in 2018, and we have almost 30 games. Most of them are mobile, MMORTS or RPG titles. We are an award-winning studio with Deloitte Technology, Fast 50, Central Europe awards. Once in 2014, we were on the 4th place. Proclaimed a rising star. Then in 2015, we were with the word of revenue growth of almost 600%. So how we did achieve all those revenue growth, and what we did through the years is to seek different kind of partnerships, and of course revenue share model is our favorite. As a developer that started as a garage studio, we've always looked into all kinds of different opportunities on the market. And let's start from there. What can revenue share partnership give you? It will incentivize you to get more and more partners. It will create a great marketing strategy. And of course, you will be able to build a brand, new business opportunities on new markets. But of course, there are some obstacles, difficulties, because if it's not executed the right way, it can actually lead to lots of bureaucracy and no distributed value. I believe that business development is actually all about this giving you ability to identify, to pursue new business opportunities, to improve the whole efficiency of the operation processes, and to build, to maintain relationships with different customers. Of course, you should always take care about the product strategies and what's coming next after the signature of such revenue share deals. And I can tell you here a little bit more about the cons that we've seen when we sign such deals. Of course, after that, I will give you some insights how to avoid that before even signing. So there are lots of cultural differences, and there are even miscommunications during the calls, lots of incomplete information when you discuss even face-to-face at conferences. And my advice here is always to have notes, to have minutes after all those meetings, because sometimes people hear one thing, they want another, and you can at least save this time, because when you go, if you reach this step to the contract point, you'll be forced to go back and forth, even sometimes with lawyers, or you will ruin the whole relationship, because contracts are normally super long, and it will take time to revise, to go back and see why there are so many false expectations and differences between what you expected to see in the contract and what's happening. The timeline sometimes is pressured by one of the parties. For example, you know that you'd like to add new features to your game before it is published, and it will take you like 4 months. Be clear about this timeline, and from the other side, you should always ask the right questions to understand what's the timeline of the publisher, because they might prolong it. They might say, oh, we want it just 9 months ahead in time. We don't want to global launch in a year or something, and this could be some stopper for you. The execution, sometimes there are lots of technical issues that you haven't thought about. Let's say lots of analytics that you should integrate, and this could prolong even the timeline. Sometimes there are internal plans that you didn't know. So sometimes before even signing, it's good to have these product calls where your product managers, or at least your devs, will explain, oh, we need first to make let's say a huge Unity update before we can even think about this publishing deal, and this will of course change the timeline. You can set even chats on Slack with the most important contacts that will give you this information from your side, from the other party. And we come to the launch problems. Everybody's ready. Artists say, oh, we gave you all the assets, the code is ready. The translations are, let's say, ready, but not integrated in the right place, or sometimes there are difficulties. For example, with the Arabic language, they're not displaying well in some parts of the game, or something just need more Q&A work. And where is the game at the end of the day? There is no compiled product, like end product, or they always say, oh, it's ready for launch, but it's not launching. So you need to make sure that this will not break the whole relationship with the publisher if they're like final back and forth difficulties with the launch. You should always communicate this. Maybe you can even work with let's say weekly calls or something that will clarify this communication between you and the publisher. The operations parts, sometimes people think, oh, it's so clear, accounting, invoicing. Yeah, but maybe there are things that you should even discuss here, like, do you need hard copy of this invoice? There are some companies that still work with outsourcing accounting firms that will require this, or let's say they need it by the 5th of every month, or something that needs your attention. Sometimes you need to ask a lot of questions about the marketing. What are the plans for it? We would be combined efforts with influencers, with featuring of Apple and Google. You should make sure that the publisher thought about all this ahead, because they need to require the featuring like 1.5 months before. I mean, if they want like great slots for your game with Apple and Google. And yeah, you need to make sure that they really take good care of your game. So how to avoid all this trouble, how to save this time, and to make sure that this is the right publisher for you. You can use different strategic tools ahead of all these negotiations, or even contacting lots of publishers. You can make competitive analysis to look into your customers, and decide what is your strength, like what is different about your game and why they would go and play it. This will, of course, give you more insights about what should be the price of the in-app purchases. I'm mostly talking about free-to-play games here, as we are more experienced there, but yeah, it can apply to premium mobile games as well sometimes. And whenever you choose those publishers, look at their background, like on Crunchbase, Wikipedia, Google, whatever. Like, try to compare the company data, look at different news, the products they already launched with other companies. What is the team? How many people? Like, what is their strategy? Which market is their priority? Of course, you can ask all those questions at the first call, but you need to save time first and to understand what is the target for you, which publishers to look for. And of course, the research part, when you understand through the strategic tools which are those publishers, you can go and find them through even free accounts at Apani, Sensor Tower, SimilarWeb. Of course, the paid ones will give you more info, but you can gather it from different places. You can go to random conferences, to online, offline events. Right now, there's so many, and there's still free tickets at some of the online conferences. Contacts are there. You can even ask the conferences for lists of those publishers and who's attending. You can read in different forums, media sites. You can make a site check for a specific region for your for a country, or even to ask your community, or if you have your own community manager, support guys, which are the places where those players would go and look for a new game. Like, that's how we did it. They were advising us for the web browser games, for game portals, which are the most popular, let's say, in Brazil, in Turkey. And of course, there were so many added things, like they were even advising us what payment providers they would love to see and to use, not just credit cards or PayPal. So we added so many alternative ones, but this is a different topic. So if you're a biz dev, you would be digging this a lot, like me and my team. And you shouldn't be like disappointed, for example, of a whole research of 1,000 companies, you would actually talk and negotiate to just 100 of them. And then from those companies, just 5 would be the ones that you would have deep negotiations with. Maybe 1 or 2 that you would actually sign, because there are lots of things that will happen through the negotiations. So when you're trying to, let's say, go and find the target publisher, what should be the right contact for you? If you're a biz dev like me, maybe the biz dev, but sometimes it really depends. Might be the co-founder. If it's biz dev, you should be aware that biz devs like me, they're likable, they're nice, they know what and how to say it. They are often too optimistic, and at the end, you might get an answer of just no, even if the call was great. So take this into account. Founders are more into numbers. They will ask you lots of questions about KPIs, about your game, about the history of your team, and so on. So whenever you're trying to approach them, of course, have your template mails, but customize them. Like you have the template mail just to get the basic info, but everything in this email should be like personal approach, explaining the intro. Where did you find this contact? Why did you decide to contact exactly this person? Like really personal. And of course, try to get a call at the end of this email. If you reach them through a call, try to divide the call in 3 parts, like just 10 minutes presentation of your company, 10 minutes for them to explain you, to give you more about what they're all about as a publisher, and 10 minutes for like questions, answers. If you're the right fit, like give time for this as well. This is like the super basic thing. Of course, it may go super in different directions, but it's the way it should be. So try to format the text, to spell check it, to double read it. Like it's really not nice to have emails with lots of mistakes. Try to be um, like to go back to those people in 5 business days, to wait for their reply. Sometimes they might be just out of the office or have different priorities. Um, so don't just go with one email and that's it. Try different communication channels. Some of them are more replying on LinkedIn, others on Facebook or Instagram. It really depends on the company. Try to develop relationships for getting average, even if it's not the right fit for you at this time. Why not to be nice? It might be a good fit for your next game or for another dev that you know. So it's all about the relationship that you're trying to connect and to create. For the sales guys, maybe here is a good tip to keep your mailbox empty, because otherwise with 100 communications, it will be hard to remember who signed this, who didn't sign even the NDA, and what's going on. So the rev share goals is, of course, to have lots of affiliates that are on, let's say, 50%, lots of distribution deals, lots of licensing deals, all of them on revenue share, non-paid. But to get that, of course, you should make a little bit more effort. For example, I was customizing my presentations. When I started, I was putting different logos for the company that I decided to approach. Looking into our portfolio of almost 30 games, I don't approach with all of them. I approach just with 1 or 2 maximum that are really relevant for this company. You should always have even your own contract template, because this way you would know what to expect into the publisher's contract. Even if they insist on using it, you would be more prepared. You should always have your banner description of the game prepared. For the smaller websites or mobile apps that are ready to start on RevShare, that's important to start right away. To be prepared, like to give them the tracking click super quickly, to have all that like tuned. And you should always ask the right questions, but sometimes you might forget, and you can use a fact document. Sometimes there are too many statistics that they would require. Of course, go and ask for an NDA. you should take care of your PR a little bit, not like paid PR, but just mm, updated website, social media websites where there are good news about you. You can even have a blog, how you developed your game and so on. The traditional publisher offer would be a profit share, but you should, of course, consider it, but look into your interest as well. They would require worldwide rights. They might have user acquisition budget and operations to propose. They can help with the transfer of the game to their accounts because normally they plan featurings with Apple, Google, and they might help with the live operations, but it really depends. What guarantees you should look at? The minimum guarantees and upfront payment. That's always a good idea. You should ask for it. It might be like crazy number, but this will save you the whole risk of having a dedicated team that's building a new game or a new build of your existing game for this publisher. They will work like crazy for 4 6 months, and you're not sure if at the end of the day there would be a bankruptcy or something of this publisher that promised everything to you and just a nice profit share. Here, you should look for net revenue share. Try to avoid this deduction of spends for advertising, or try to even get information about all the taxes, VATs, and everything that is just described with what sentence. Try to understand what is behind it in those traditional contracts. And what are the alternative rev share partners that I found through the years? And I think that you might not consider them at first, but they're there. For example, for our browser games, social networks like Facebook, Одноклассники, VKontakte, were super great partners with lots of new users for us. The integration was not that heavy. Messengers like right now, of course, mobile applications like Tango, Line, Nimbus, Kik, they all have game categories actually. So it really depends on the type of game you have, but you might ask them what are their plans, if they're willing to take your game as well. Dating sites or apps like Elmas, Mamba, Fotostrana, they also have sometimes game categories or at least entertainment section. Media sites like Sanoma, AdSpree, Grupa, Onet, or sports sites. It really depends on your game, but think about that kind of specifics for your game. Software websites, of course, now torrent sites are not that popular, but they were before. So you might think of other options that are that you believe that your players would go there and be happy to see your banner and download your game, or save it for later, let's say. And lots of third-party stores, actually, Android local stores like Cafe Bazaar, Iran apps, or manufacturer stores of Samsung, Xiaomi, Huawei. The telecoms also have their own game apps, actually, like Claro Gaming and others in different regions. What we did in that sense, because we self-publish most of our games, but we also work with lots of white labels and local deals with publishers. For example, Arabic partners like NBC. This is our latest deal, Kingdom of Glory. It's called the Arabic version of Imperia Online. We launched on mobile devices. We have experience in this, in creating like separate build with culturalization, not just the language, but just taking advice from the publisher what to be adapted for the market, and we have the knowledge how to create different features, mechanics. They just advise us what events they would like to see for different holidays and so on. So the community is getting bigger and bigger and happier because of this great collaboration that's happening there. You should always see if it's better you to support the game or the publisher to take care about the support. It really depends, but mostly they care about the support in this local kind of partnerships. So if you have a new game, you should always start with soft launching it on your own market or region, because actually publishers who ask for KPIs, they really love new games, but they will ask like, did you soft launch somewhere? Do you have anything to share about this and that? So it's always a good idea to test your own market. Then you can go with different markets, with cultural diversification, to translate it in different languages. But there you should, like really think about it. Do I really want to do it myself, or go with a local partner that understands better, let's say, the Turkish market, knows better the marketing there, and so on. And try to use this combined approach that I mentioned when you enter a new market, not just the user acquisition through Facebook, TikTok, and so on. Try to use also the telecoms like SMS, TV ads, even the influencers. This is the new distribution channel for free-to-play games, and you should always try with the smaller influencers that will not ask you for super big amounts of money, or even will be happy to play for free because they really love your game. If you have any questions, that's my email. I'd really love to discuss now anything that's going through your head, and why this whole topic is with AI, because I really believe that this would be the next tool that we all be using as BizDev, as people in the game industry, to create new products, and it will be really exciting. Thank you.